Dude, do we have to make a video about this? It's so stupid.
Yes, we have to.
Fine. Let's talk about this rigged election bullshit.
The election is rigged. It's rigged like you've never seen before.
Trump has spent the last few weeks warning that if he loses the election, it'll be because it was stolen from him due to massive voter fraud.
Oh, that voter fraud. Voter fraud is very, very common. People that have died 10 years ago are still voting. Illegal immigrants are voting.
A huge chunk of his supporters believe him and think that Democrats are going to steal the election by using fake votes.
Do you think there's large-scale voter fraud in this country?
Yes, absolutely, positively.
That's bananas. But I know talking about voting data is really boring, so let's debunk this in under 30 seconds.
Ready? Go!
Voter fraud is not a real thing. Between 2000 and 2014, there were 31 cases of voter fraud out of over 1 billion ballots cast. That is a very small percentage. Things that are more likely than voter fraud include getting hit by lightning, seeing a UFO, and dying of constipation. Court after court after court has said there's just no evidence that voter fraud is a real problem, and experts say the US election is too big and too secure to ever be rigged, which is why PolitiFact said that Trump's rigged election claim is not just a lie, but a pants-on-fire lie. Time?
Got it, dude.
Damn right I did. It's tempting to dismiss this rigged election stuff as just Trump being a sore loser, but it's actually not a Trump thing. Over the past couple years, an increasing number of primarily Republican voters started to believe that voter fraud is a real issue. And honestly, it's hard to blame them. If you turn on Fox News for even 5 minutes, you're probably gonna see someone talking about voter fraud like it's a real problem.
Fox News reporting, stealing your vote.
Shocking new numbers suggesting the true extent of voter fraud.
Allegations of voter fraud.
Possible voter fraud.
The outrageous voting fraud exposed.
People who are not American citizens are deciding the outcome of the elections.
My fear is that the fix may already be in.
How easy is it to steal an election?
It's a fairly easy thing to do.
Kelly! What's up, girl? It's been like this for years. Remember the 2008 story about Acorn, the activist group that was accused of widespread voter fraud?
Acorn is being investigated in at least 14 states for voter registration fraud.
Voter
registration
so now
fraud.
It's voter registration
You've
fraud,
done it.
Again,
your workers have done it across the country.
That story ended up being a nothing burger, but Fox News spent so much time on it.
Acorn.
The left-wing group Acorn.
Acorn.
That half of all Republican voters thought Acorn stole the election for Obama in 2012, 2 years after Acorn shut down.
You guys created this fear of massive voter fraud, and we have no evidence of any voter fraud.
Kelly, up here. Sit. Sit. Right-wing media obsess on these kinds of stories to create the perception that there's a widespread voter fraud problem when there just isn't.
Our investigation is the first of what will be a continuing series here on Fox News. We call it Stealing Elections.
But it's not just the Fox Newses of the world. As GOP state houses across the country have pushed for more restrictive voter ID laws, local news outlets have repeated talking points about voter fraud, usually without fact-checking them.
Supporters argue the law is vital to preventing voter fraud.
Viewers at home get bombarded with warnings about voter fraud without realizing it's a bullshit story.
Potential voter fraud.
Voter fraud.
Voter fraud.
Cracking down on voter fraud.
So when Trump gets on TV and tells his supporters,
We have to make sure that this election is not stolen from us. And everybody knows what I'm talking about.
they do know what he's talking about. It goes without saying that all of this fear-mongering is a ticking time bomb in a democratic society. A democracy can't really survive if voters don't trust the outcome of an election. But just beating Trump is not going to erase voters' doubts about the integrity of our elections. To do that, news outlets are going to have to get a lot more aggressive about calling bullshit when they hear right-wing horror stories about voter fraud. And that's just one example. In 20...
You should have kept going.